Welcome to another video, dear painters and friends. In the last video, we prepared a face for all paints. We applied the blue-white shading and then a skin tone. The paint is dry and we can start mixing all paints. For this face, I choose these colors: yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, burnt umber, alizarin crimson and titanium white. I start mixing the paint with the yellow. I start mixing red into the yellow. I start to get an orange color, which is the basic for mixing the skin tone. Sometimes I have to add red until I'm satisfied with the result. I don't use these colors often, so I don't know the exact ratio yet. Once I'm satisfied with the result, I start mixing blue. Always just a tiny amount. Blue is a very strong shade and can completely ruin the result. It has happened to me several times. I prefer to add a small amount of color, mix it, and eventually add more color. The resulting shade should darken a little and have a cooler tone. Then I just mix in white. I add more and more color and create a palette of individual skin tones. I usually don't use all these shades I have created. I decide when I start applying the color to the face. Some shades will serve as a base for creating a cool or warm shade. While creating the skin tone, it can happen that the result is too pink, yellow, etc. It's not a problem to mix in the color to achieve a better result. Especially here, I added a little more blue because the color seemed too pink to me. I have created a series of skin tones and now I'm going to prepare darker shades, shadows. I'm going to start with the blue color, which I will add to the basic mix. The result should be neither too reddish nor too bluish. Once I have achieved this, I add brown together with the blue to create the darkest shade of skin color. The oil paints are ready and I can start applying them to the face. As a thinner, I will use odorless AK Interactive Paint Thinner if necessary. I have two brushes ready. One round, which I use to apply the color or thin it, and the other flat, usually size number 2. I always start with a dark shade of colors. I apply shadows. I start around the chainmail. The head is hidden in the chainmail and helmet. Only the face and beard are really visible. The other parts of the head are hidden or in deep shadow. I apply the color with a round brush and spread it with a flat brush in the places where I want the color. I do the same on the other side. I work with a small amount of color. Too much color is harmful. Then I start applying the color from the nose under the cheek. I work slowly and in parts. I apply the darkest shade to the corner of the eye. There is a big shadow there. I spread the applied color from the eye outwards to the side. I also spread the color on the bridge of the nose. I apply the same procedure to the other eye, in the corner of the eye, and then spread it. The color should be under the eye arc. I washed my brush to get rid of the dark shade and I return to the previous shade. I apply it to the wrinkles on the forehead, a small amount, and spread it in the direction of the wrinkle. I do the same under the mouth, the lower lip. The inside of the mouth will be the darkest shade. Now I don't worry about the teeth and tongue. I will do those later. Now I need to apply color to the inside of the mouth. I also apply a dark shade under the nose and under the bridge of the nose. The knight has wrinkles on his nose from laughing. They need to be highlighted as well. I will apply a dark shade again, just small ones because they are not deep wrinkles. I will do the same with the wrinkles around the eyes. They are subtle, so I will apply a little color and blend everything out properly. I'm not looking for complete accuracy. I just need to sketch the highlights and shadows. If necessary, I will go back to a part of the face and add more color or a darker shade. I will do this a few more times while painting this face. Of course, there is a deep shadow under the helmet, so I will also apply a dark shade of skin color to the top of the forehead. I have the basic shadows done, and now I will start applying medium and light skin tones. I will start on the cheeks, where I applied a redder skin tone. I am adjusting the colors on the palette. Here I added a little red. This is the middle part of the face, and it is redder, a warm shade. I apply the color to the cheek, the border of shadow and light. I continue to the lower part of the nose. Not under the nose, that's the place where the shadow is. When I am done, I can start applying the light skin tone. I apply the color to the upper part of the cheek, right under the eye up to the crease of the eye. The same on the other side of the cheek. Then I move to the forehead. I apply the color and spread it with the flat brush. Yes, I realized that the upper part of the face should be hidden under the visor of the helmet, but I want the face to be visible. That's why I paint a lighter forehead. In the Planet Dark armor, the face would also be dark, and I don't want it. I apply the color to the places that are more under the light. The bridge of the nose, the wrinkles on the nose, the lower eyelids, and even a small amount of color on the upper eyelids, which should otherwise be in the shadow. It's a good trick to show and highlight the eye on the face. I think I have the basic distribution of colors applied to the face. Now I'm going to go back to the individual parts and start highlighting them. Don't be afraid to throw away the used flat brush and get a new one. I have several flat brushes that I use for different stages of painting. I have a finer one now because I only need to comb the color, not spread it over the face. I highlight some parts of the face, such as the nose and the area around the nose, the area around the eyes, etc. I always check it with the overall appearance of the face. The knight seems to me like a good person who likes to laugh and likes to drink a good drink, so I decided to paint the area around his nose redder. I started adding a redder skin tone. I will gradually add more and more. I still try to keep between light and shadow on the face. I started adding the light shades to the areas that are most exposed to light. If I need to, I mix an even lighter skin tone, but I mix everything with the colors I have on my palette. I rarely add another new color to the palette. I use a round brush for a more delicate application. Just rub the bristles on my finger. It's really just small areas and small amounts of color. I went back to the area that I would like to paint redder. I mix a shade of red by adding burnt sienna, alizarin crimson and little cobalt blue. Now I'm working with a really small amount of color. I apply a tiny line and gently blend it with the new flat brush. The flat brush is dry. I do the same for the tip of the nose. Finally, I apply burnt sienna to the cheek. I like to apply different tones of red to the face. A different color for the face than for the nose and the area around the nose. By mixing cobalt blue and burnt umber, I get a cold tone which I apply to the lower eyelid. I dilute the color, apply a small amount and spread it with a flat brush. I do the same on the lower part of the cheeks where the birds start to grow. It returns again to the overall contrast of the face and jumps from one skin tone to another. On the palette, I mix a pink shade, which I apply to the lower eyelid, exactly to the place where it touches the white of the eyes. It will beautifully review the eye area. We have the skin tone, a gold tone, and now a pink shade. and again adding other shades, light skin, warm tones, etc. Now it's really just about small details, fine lines, highlighting wrinkles, etc. I move to the open mouth where the teeth and tongue dominate. The tongue, gums and the inside of the mouth are pink red. I found the color on the palette of prepared colors and started with the tongue on the surrounding area. First, everything was a dark red shade and then I found a pink shade which I started applying between the lower lip and lower teeth and on the tongue. The tip of the tongue was already pretty pink in a moment. it was the turn of the whites of the eyes. I found the light grey again from the colors I have on palette. I apply the color to each of the eye with the brush, clean the brush between two fingers and then spread the color all over the whites of the eyes. If necessary, I add color and spread it again. The advantage of oil paints is that it spreads beautifully over the surface and does not run anywhere like water. With a brush with a good tip, we push the color into all the edges of the whites of the eyes. A few more details and the first phase of face painting is complete. Then it was time to prepare the bird and chainmail for the next day. I painted the bird brown and prepared the chainmail black. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your patience. In the last video we will look at finishing the face, bird, eyes and other details. Thank you and see you soon.